buttermilk crispy chicken? Let's find out.
It's probably the best sandwich I've ever had.
It's super crispy, but it's also really juicy.
So would you guys come back?
Yeah.
Of course, definitely. Well, here's our card. The location is on the back. It's McDonald's? What? What?
Oh, get out
No way.
Wait, seriously?
Try some buttermilk crispy chicken. It's right around the corner at McDonald's. Buttermilk.
All right, we're back on Ask the Coach with Coach Jeff Griffith of the Barron County Trojans. I want to remind you that after the show, if you want to see the podcast, McDonald's Ask the Coach podcast with game film, you can see that at watchwcou.com or go to WCOU Radio and just click on the video link. And as always, we want to thank McDonald's of Glasgow for sponsoring Ask the Coach podcast with game film. Coach, you know, we've talked about kind of how the game went last night and things. One thing, I guess, out of all of that happened last night, we come away not executing well. We came away last night with not the win. But last night was one of those things that if you follow Barron County sports and you've been around Barron County for the last few months, 56 has been standing on the sideline. But last night when he came on the field to kick that extra point, the crowd was like, all right. And then later on, he comes on the field for defense. And just that story in general, if you know what's went on with the battle of cancer and, being able to come back the game right before we head into October with cancer awareness and to see Gunnar back on the field last night, that had to been something that was just a morality boost for our boys.
Well, as you said, Brad, I mean, we're out there fighting our tails off to win a high school football game, and in the big scheme of things, that's not a big deal at all. But for Gunnar Eaton to be able to get back out there and not just kick an extra point, but he has put himself in a situation where he played in the game probably 15 or 20 snaps last night, probably more snaps than I was wanting to play him. Because he kept pushing me to put him in. But, he has had a rough road of it since about January. And, my goodness, what a testimony of human perseverance and working his tail off. No one else that I don't know. I mean, I don't know if anyone else that could have done what he's done in terms of getting back and putting himself in a position to play in a high school football game. And it was just a great feeling and a moment when, first of all, he went out there to kick the extra point. Of course, he was 3 for 3 last night, yeah. But to play in the football game and make plays and is a good player, and he's about 35, 40 pounds lighter than he was a year ago because of what he's been through in the last 9 months. But tell you what, he's still Gunnar Eaton, and he's a really good football player and a great young man. And obviously he's somebody that we're extremely proud of and happy for, yeah. Because I know that one thing Gunnar loves is he loves playing, and he loves playing with his teammates. And I was extremely happy that he got to get that opportunity again last night.
I think you said it best. Right now this morning, folks that's listening to this show, me and you both, we're sitting here talking about, and you said the scheme of things. We're talking about football, and here we are, somebody that didn't know what the outcome of this was going to be a few months ago, and he's back on the field now. And it's not that he's back on the field, but it's just a testimony of the hope that we have. That life is about a lot more than football.
Oh my goodness!
It's just a part of it, and this just brings it all full circle. That man, there's more to life than this.
Well, when you look in the eyes of Gunnar Eaton, and all he wants to do is be an 18-year-old kid and high school senior and play sports with his friends, and anyone that knows what he's been through and knows the story of what's gone on with Gunnar the past year essentially, or 9 months. But I mean, it's just unbelievable that he has put himself in a position to come back and be not only just be a part of the team, but be a participant on our team and play in the game. And in spite of everything, we're sitting at 2-4, and we're sitting there, banging our heads against the wall, trying to find a way to win a football game. You know what? that really doesn't matter when a kid like that has fought his tail back to be able to play with his teammates. And I can't be happier for him and his family. And now the thing is that we're going to expect a lot out of Gunnar here the next few weeks.
That's right. That's exactly right. And on that, he didn't just come in last night for a couple snaps and just take up some space on the field, but when he was in there making plays, being where he's supposed to be, assisting on tackles, making tackles, that's just, to me, that shows you the fight and determination in somebody's soul that says, hey, no matter what life gives me, if it gives me lemons, I'm going to make lemonade. Yep. And just continue to fight.
Well, he's one of those guys, too. I mean, I'm glad he did, made some plays against Warren East last night, and he did, because he has driven our offensive line and offense crazy for about 2 weeks now as we've been trying to work him back in there. So I told him, I think it was last Wednesday, I said, I hope you drive the other teams crazy like you've driven us crazy the last 2 weeks. And he did. I mean, he's quick, and he's a competitive young man, and like I said, you can't say enough about his spirit to come back from that and play with his teammates this year.
Good deal. Of course, last night, I of course don't know yet what the week's going to hold, but we do know that Jordan Hill went out last night, lost him for the rest of the game. No Seth Gross, our center, went out, lost him for the rest of the game last night. And of course, I'm sure we'll know more on what the status are on those two guys as the week goes on, and definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to Hill and Gross. Hill's kind of like one of my kids. I was able to be on the same team with him in Little League, and have just always thought the world of Jordan. So we hope that Jordan gets back this next week, and or at least a couple weeks, whatever happened to him last night with the shoulder injury. But just to recap kind of last night, rushing yards, of course, Winiger 8 carries for 25 yards, Hughes 10 carries for 36 yards, Gott 6 carries for 20 yards, Mabe 2 carries for -4. Passing, Hughes was 3 for 15, 31 yards with 2 interceptions. Hughes had the 2 carries into the end zone for touchdowns for us there early, and then Chase Farley with the fumble recovery there in the end zone there in the second half. And Coach, like we said, there were some bright spots last night. There was also some things to take away that to work on this next week. But what we really hope is that we're looking at a real good Greenwood team that's coming in to Trojan Stadium this week. And this one's behind us. After this morning, you watch that game film, you get this behind us, and you say, all right, guys, it's time to start looking forward to next week. This is district. This is where we've got to dig in. This is where we've got to, we've got to start executing. Like you said, it's not that we're not. The effort's there. It's just the execution. We need to execute this week, guys. And so, just as you look ahead at Greenwood this week, Coach, kind of what are we going to be looking at next Friday?
Well, that's the proverbial 24-hour rule that we use, whether you win or lose, and all coaches talk about it. If you win a game, you're going to be happy about it for about 24 hours, and if you lose a game, you're going to correct mistakes and move on to the next one on Monday. And we're getting ready to play a Greenwood team that's very good. The funny thing is that this is last night's game. I know a lot of the obviously I know Coach Chaffin, but a lot of their assistant coaches I've worked with and coached in the past, and I know a lot of those guys, and it'll be the same thing this week when we play Greenwood. I work with Chris Seabold at Bowling Green as well, and he and I know each other well, and a lot of their coaching staff, and then of course the following week I have a lot of ties with the Bowling Green staff, and we'll play Grayson the following week and have a lot of ties there with Ed Smart at Grayson and know most of their staff. So it's going to be a familiarity with a lot of the teams here. These 4 weeks, his 4-week run here, but we're facing Greenwood. They have an outstanding quarterback. They have a scheme offensively that you don't see a whole lot, although we see it out of 2 teams in our district. They've obviously done a really good job with it this year. They've played solid defense, and they're sitting at 5-1, and they've played a pretty good schedule. So we're going to have our hands full. We're going to have to play well, but it's the open district game, and we're going to view it as the slate, clean slate. We're 0-0 and come out fighting next week.
All right, folks, you come out next Friday night to Trojan Field at 7:00 as the Barron County Trojans host the Greenwood Gators. And Coach, we appreciate you coming and being with us this morning. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Hill and also to Gross this morning. And guys, we hope you guys are better soon. We've got a lot of other young guys that I know that are out right now with some injuries, and it's just that time of year, Coach. After 6 games, getting beat up in practice, getting beat up in games. Some of these guys that are out, play on our JV squad that are on our special teams. Those guys are we got a few out, but we've got a couple guys probably be back this week that can help us out on special teams and different things. So, looking ahead to Greenwood this week, we're excited that we're 0-0 in the district, and so hopefully we can come back next Friday or next Saturday morning and talk about being 1-0. But come back, join us next week on Ask the Coach with Coach Jeff Griffith. And after the show today, if you'd like to check out the podcast with game film, just go to watchwclu.com or go to WCLU Radio and click on the video link. And as always, we want to thank McDonald's of Glasgow for sponsoring that. Until next week, folks, you be sure to come join us Friday night at Trojan Field at 7 o'clock as the Barron County Trojans host the Greenwood Gators.